Hardware is supposed to be a race to the bottom on price. Rivals are supposed to celebrate each other's failures. For decades, these were the unbreakable rules of the gaming industry. But right now, the biggest players in tech are tearing up the playbook. Take Valve. They recently revealed a brand new living room gaming device that costs over $1,000, while adamantly insisting that it is not a console. Or look at AMD. Instead of locking their most advanced AI graphics technology behind an expensive hardware upgrade, they are actively pushing it out to users who haven't spent a dime on new parts. Meanwhile, the developers of the hit free-to-play shooter Warframe are publicly mourning the financial collapse of Destiny 2, their most direct, formidable market competitor. None of this follows the old models. The industry has drifted into a space where traditional logic fails, forcing corporations into these paradoxical strategies simply to stabilize their footing in a market that no longer rewards the standard playbook. Let's look closer at Valve's hardware strategy. The new Steam machine carries a massive price shock. The base 512GB model starts at $1,049, while the 2TB variant scales all the way up to $1,428. Despite designing a device that sits under your television, Valve is stubborn about what this machine actually is. They want users to know they will be dealing with graphics drivers, customized settings, and PC-level complexity, rather than simple plug-and-play convenience. Part of this astronomical cost comes down to the physical memory required to run it. A global supply chain crisis, known as Ramageddon, triggered massive shortages, drastically inflating the price of DDR5 chips. But Valve isn't panicking about the price tag, because their financial math is completely isolated from traditional hardware sales. Every time a game is sold through their digital storefront, Steam, Valve automatically captures up to a 30% cut of the revenue. They don't need to sell 50 million units at a loss to win a console war. By charging a premium price for PC-level flexibility, Valve only needs to capture a specific, highly profitable demographic of hardcore gamers who want their massive digital libraries in the living room. Over in the graphics market, AMD is employing an entirely opposing strategy. They recently announced that their latest AI upscaling software, FSR 4.1, is being backported to run on older RDNA 3 and RDNA 2 graphics cards. This diagram illustrates exactly how FSR 4.1 achieves this. It fuses two distinct processes. It uses a two-dimensional spatial grid to analyze the edges and textures of the current frame, and combines that with a temporal sequence that analyzes the motion between multiple frames. When the spatial and temporal data lock together, the result is a massive performance yield. Users get a 35 to 45% boost in frame rates, alongside a dramatic reduction in visual artifacts like ghosting and shimmering. NVIDIA takes a highly restrictive approach with their equivalent technology. If you want to use DLSS 4, you are forced to purchase one of their brand new premium RTX graphics cards. AMD isn't giving away this performance out of sheer generosity. By providing a massive free upgrade to older hardware, they strip away the immediate incentive for their current users to buy a new card from NVIDIA. AMD currently holds about a quarter of the dedicated GPU market. Deploying radical hardware accessibility is a calculated, defensive financial weapon designed specifically to protect that 25% market share. Corporate strategy also dictates how these companies handle their own history. Fans recently discovered a subtle Easter egg hidden in a Grand Theft Auto 6 trailer, a mural matching the exact outfit of classic protagonist Tommy Vercetti that went completely unnoticed for a full year. Studios like Rockstar and Capcom weave this meticulous nostalgia directly into their marketing. By validating long-term fan devotion with clever references, they build a foundation of consumer trust that translates directly into millions of guaranteed pre-orders. Nintendo operates on the exact opposite philosophy. When a dedicated fan named CryZenX spent a decade meticulously rebuilding The Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time in a modern engine, Nintendo's legal team loomed so large that the creator voluntarily canceled the project. This legal pressure stems from a specific financial catalyst. Nintendo is currently developing their own official full-priced remake of Ocarina of Time for the upcoming Switch 2, and they are aggressively clearing the market of any competing fan projects. This highlights a deep cultural divergence in how intellectual property is managed. Many Western studios view high-quality fan creations as free marketing. In traditional Japanese corporate structures, those same fan projects are viewed as a dangerous dilution of the official brand. Community passion is a highly regulated corporate asset. Companies will either carefully cultivate it or aggressively crush it, based entirely on their internal philosophy of brand control. That tension between community and commerce is sharpest in the live service market. Sony recently announced they are ending development support for Destiny 2. The game suffered severe player decline over 2 years, and annual revenue plummeted from a peak of $800 million down to roughly $200 million. The studio behind the game, Bungie, is immediately pivoting their resources to a new extraction shooter project. In the zero-sum world of live service investments, an aging, marginally profitable game gets cut loose to fund the next potential multi-billion-dollar hit. You might expect the competition to celebrate, but the public reaction was entirely different. The community director for Warframe, Destiny's biggest, most persistent rival, issued a statement publicly mourning the end of the game, asserting that no one was celebrating the news. For a decade, these two competing games directly influenced each other. Warframe's agile movement mechanics inspired updates to Destiny's mobility, while Destiny's complex raid designs pushed Warframe to develop their own large-scale boss encounters. Their development ecosystems were practically linked. Beneath the zero-sum financial models and cold corporate spreadsheets, these massive live service platforms do not exist in a vacuum. They ultimately rely on a fragile, shared human community to survive and innovate. Whether it's Valve ignoring console wars, AMD giving away their software, or rivals mourning each other, these behaviors are not random. They are calculated responses to a market where the old safeguards have vanished. Hardware boundaries are blurring, and product life cycles are getting shorter every year. Raw technical specifications and processing power are rapidly losing their dominance as the primary drivers of market success. The actual currency of the modern tech and gaming industry has shifted. The most valuable metrics for these companies are now emotional investment and long-term user retention. The corporations that survive this volatile era will not necessarily be the ones with the highest teraflop count or the most ruthless legal teams. The winners will be the companies that figure out how to satisfy the balance sheet while maintaining undeniable, long-lasting community devotion.